to another episode of the Gloves Off podcast. I'm Koopa, and we're here with the three of us once again, the big three, if you may. Joined as always, as I have been every week for almost the last 2 years, for the most part.
Wow.
A lot. Yeah, we've been doing this for a minute. It'll be 2 years in
Crazy to think
August.
about, man.
Yeah.
There's real content being produced on this channel, I promise. Like
it's an illusion, Michael. I'm here with Chris Elodie. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm actually a little excited to get back on track because we have not been on track for a bit, but we'll get to more of that in a bit.
Yep, and I'm here once again with the man, also from the Northeast, hailing from Boston, though he claims a team in Philadelphia. But he went to a educational system in New York City. So you've got
oh, what are you talking about? High school?
No, you went to school in New York, didn't you?
No, Mass.
Oh, okay.
Mass?
I was like, wait, what kind of?
That's right. You were born in New York. That's what it was.
I was, yeah, from New York. Now Mass.
All right, we're good.
Yeah, you're a transplant. Mr. Hazmat rules. Haz, how are you? It's been a minute since we've talked to you.
I know it has been a minute. I'm all right.
Yeah. So.
Interesting couple weeks.
It has been. So not to bury the lead at all. So we haven't done a podcast in 2 weeks, and the last podcast we did is we talked about a lot of the waves that were being made in regards to assault allegations, sexual assault allegations, and a lot of bad stuff coming up.
Let me clarify. Sorry, I just someone sent me a funny DM on Twitter. I was not listening to you. I just zoned back in and realized I was kind of smiling. I'm not listening to
it's okay. I panned off at the perfect time.
Insanely inappropriate. Apologies there. Continue, Kyle.
Yeah,
I will listen to you now.
Thank you. So the last episode we talked about some heavy stuff regarding sexual assault and sexual misconduct, not just within our own sphere of Smash, but within the esports sphere in general. And a lot has happened since in these 2 weeks.
Dude, it's a different landscape, man. I feel like the discussions we'll be having today are, I think some of the emotion gets removed. Not some of the emotion, but it's able to be looked at a little bit of a higher vantage point where you can sort of see things a little better for what they are now that some of the dust has settled, maybe. Because this was something that our last episode was a little bit after that Twitch blackout, where it was mostly Twitch streamers who were being essentially outed for any kind of misconduct and stuff. And then that very quickly snowballed into the Smash community taking a huge collective dump, which is actually sort of something that I think is important to keep in mind, where the culture that has sort of been cultivated with, in our landscape, we're going to call it the esports landscape, the gaming landscape, the industry, it sort of gets reduced as one big community under the very large problems of a few. But the thing is you and I, all of us in this call know how big Smash is and just the gaming communities in general. So I think it's important to realize some of that stuff where you see some of these big names that you associate with a lot of these bigger games, the Nairos, the Zeros, D1s, anyone who's involved with Smash going down, you think, wow, this is a really bad state of affairs. This game is trash and it's done and the community was always bad, but that's just like a part of the community. I feel like a lot of the other stuff got lumped into that as a whole.
Yeah. So obviously in case you've, haven't heard what's going on, many more cases of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, and abuse have made waves throughout the Smash community, and Chris named a few, and it's a lot of people that you as the casual viewer might know, that the hardcore viewer might know, and that us here as members of production and staff have known throughout the years, and people grieve differently. I think a big thing we're going to be talking about a lot is a lot of mental health awareness and stuff like that, and it's still a little hard for me to find the words because people obviously grieve differently, people absorb information differently. These last 2 weeks have been incredibly hard. I've done a lot of talking, I've done a lot of reading, talking with my friends, talking with my family, and just to kind of really wrap my mind around everything that's happened these last couple of weeks. because it's been a lot. And I look you were about to say something, Has. I'm sorry for cutting you off there.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, some of the people who have been accused of things are some of the biggest people that we have too. It's not just like, I mean, it's all over the place too. You're seeing it at the local level, you're seeing it kind of everywhere, and it's bigger than Smash too. Like Chris said, it started before us. It was not it started in Twitch, but it happened in Twitch. Now I saw it in the NFL. I think the Redskins. I don't think they're even called the Redskins anymore.
The Washington football team is what they've been.
Oh, is that what they're going by right now?
Yes.
Is it really?
Footballers.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Wow.
Sports talk radio has adopted
local sports
that
team.
Yes.
Yeah. So the local Washington sports team, they they had some cases come forward. It's happening everywhere. I feel like it's just been kind of this thing that's been happening. And for Smash, it was some of the people who were at the forefront, the biggest forefront, some of the biggest platforms that we've ever had. These people represented us on them, and it's truly devastating as a member of the community and someone who cares about the community so much to kind of see this happen, and just watch as people who only know us through specific individuals who represented us at the highest level only know this now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you just know the worst thing about us while we're also trying to go through the process of kind of grieving. These people that let's be real, we're never going to probably see again. You know what I mean? Like that's, and not that, like, I don't know if that's like a weird way to put it, but it's in a way like the community is just being affected in such a big way. So not necessarily the people or whatever, like you don't have to be sad or upset that they're gone, but the impact that it's going to have on the community is more what I'm talking about. So
yeah, it's definitely taken the wind out of a lot of like community sales, which was already sort of in a bad shape from coronavirus.
COVID,
like that was the first big problem. So what ended up happening,
and still is the big problem.
It is still a big problem. We even have it slated up today to talk about, as far as, because there has been some local starting, and I don't even think we're looking to give opinions on that today. I think my goal, at least my personal goal, is to sort of assess where we are right now and where locals might go and why there is so much speculation around it, and the only possible scenarios where that speculation could go away. Because I say this a lot, and I mean it. What we're experiencing on a level in the Smash community is such a microcosm of what's happening in the world, and so synchronistic to all these bigger things. Because you're talking about people getting caught in really bad toxic situations and being outed, but this is happening. Has you already mentioned it, but it's happening in other arenas and other, especially like sports, all those kinds of things. But it's also happening like on a political level with like an election that we have coming up. So there's just like so much.
Yeah,
everything is just booming right now with all kinds of high emotion and opinions. And I would like to keep the conversation today kind of focused on maybe ways to heal from this sort of thing, because collectively, like, it sounds corny, but like healing is we talked about grieving. The only way to come back from grieving is to heal. So the only way to do that is with a little bit of perspective and maybe just a little bit of insight on kind of how we got here. Because I think really understanding how you get somewhere is a great way to reverse engineer how to sort of approach it moving forward in a way where you don't just want to be like, this was an opinion I held just on was it I think it was 2 podcasts ago. Where I was just like, community just needs to die. Get it out of here. And I'm realizing even in that, like, how it's an extreme take, and I don't even think it's a wrong one. I just don't think it's maybe the right one. I think when you're it's extreme. But the thing with it is mostly, I think that the attention needs to be put elsewhere. And I think as long as we look at the Smash community for what it is, and even talk about it, even saying the term Smash community sort of already paints a picture that I think needs to be maybe disregarded, and maybe either a new one needs to be painted, or maybe the attention needs to be focused elsewhere. Because while we have the faces of this community, just sort of a lot of big faces, sort of wiped, not just removed, being actively now to a point where people don't even want to see it.
Negative.
It's negative.
It's not just neutral, gone, or whatever. It's a negative association, which is so sad. Man. It really, for the community, obviously, it's just the community. This is a huge change that we're gonna have to go through for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. And there's been a lot of good conversation being had from a lot of different places. Coney made a really good video, a couple of good videos talking about what's been going on. Hugs made a really good video. So I think, like Chris said, we really want to kind of, see how we got here, and see what we can do for the change, because like we brought up, there's still the rain cloud of a global health pandemic happening. And as someone that consumes a lot of news, I read a lot of the news, I watch a lot of the news. It's a blessing and a curse to be as informed, as you can be sometimes. But things with the ongoing health crisis and so on and so forth aren't getting better. In a small scale probably, but on a big scale, not really. So at least within what's happening within the Smash community, this tree was rotting from the inside for a while. And I think what we're going to see when we eventually get back, whenever it becomes safe, I can't give you a timetable when that's going to be, but eventually when we get there, I I think we're going to see I think things are going to be different. It's like when you get on a plane for the first time in 6 months, or how travel, or how or this and that's going to change. Going out to dinner in a couple of years is going to be different. But I think we're going to see a new era of hopefully accountability, a newer era of having the uncomfortable conversation with people around you about, like, hey, like, this isn't cool, or like noticing problematic behavior and holding those people accountable, and you know seeing how the environments and things become safer and such like that. So it's it's hard not to ramble, because there's still this is still so fresh.
Yeah, it's
And
it's part of healing is working through it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even if you kind of need to go on a little bit of a tangent, or ramble about it a little bit, it's kind of just working out the kinks, honestly. And I think a part of it, and something, if I could impart a little bit of wisdom to the Smash community, or viewers, or you guys, or anybody, a little bit of wisdom. I am an older member of the community, and the thing is, something that I've learned in life is that just sometimes shit is out of your control. Like, bad shit happens, it's out of your control. It's sometimes good shit too, which is great, and you should enjoy that. Sometimes shit happens, man. It's just completely out of your control. You need to learn how to roll with the punch and learn how to bounce back from it, and that's all you can do. And I think this is a situation where it's like, this happened, got to deal with it, you got to handle it, and how do we do that kind of going forward? And I think the big question is, like, people don't really know how, or even kind of where to start with this whole thing. And we were talking about it before we hopped on the air, and kind of the silver lining of where we're at with COVID and the pandemic and stuff. One of the only silver linings I can think of is that, thank God there were no events happening around this time, because I'm sure, like, let's say this was CEO weekend or Shine weekend or any of those big
I
tournaments, they
mean,
would have
we
had to
would have
like
been getting into
cancel.
we would have getting into the meat of things.
They would have had to. What would have happened? Like, if any of these people were going to be going, and now they're not, and people there was a certainly, and I'm not saying this feeling has passed completely, but there was certainly a time where people felt unsafe going to tournaments because of all the accusations and stuff happening. And I'm not saying that that's like past and everything's fine now. We still need to figure that out and work through it. We're just not at the peak of it anymore, if that makes sense. Um,
Sure.
so I think that's like the lesson here is, like, we're all kind of caught up in this spider web of shit that happened. TOs, everybody who cares about the community needs to come together and figure out what to do. And the silver lining is, I think we got a lot of time to figure out what the next step is. Honestly, I think this is such a great opportunity for Smash.gg to step up and do something awesome for the community, introduce some new security features, more information for, hey, if you go to a tournament, who are you staying with? Here's like their gamer tag. But then obviously, if you need to pull up all their information, like if you're a parent or something, you can. I mean, there's ways to like fudge all those numbers and stuff, but I think Smash.gg has been in need of getting back and earning some good grace with the community. And I think this would be a great way to do it. I just think, like, I love Smash.gg still. They're so much better than anything we had before, but I feel like they just kind
Absolutely.
of have been what's it called? Like, they plateaued. Like, they've just been staying at the same place and
they've
haven't really made any upgrades.
they,
And I
they
think doing something for this part of the community would be, that's incredible. Like, what a great opportunity to help people out.
They've sadly, I feel like there's been more Smash GG outages than ever recently with all the big online brackets, or
Yeah,
maybe
it's
not the
true.
big. I say big online brackets. Some of them are pretty big. some of those brackets do tip, because the reality is
more
there's
weekends are in the event than, or more events are on the weekends than ever before.
And the thing is, though, is I almost think that's an indication, like, despite how much people don't like Wi-Fi, there's still a lot of people who want to play this game regardless. And there's a lot of people who are still new to this game coming out, and a lot of people who are just like, they may have heard about the Smash community on a bad note from the news, but has gotten them at least introduced to the idea of, like, oh, wow, there's people who get together and play this game.
But what a terrible light for that to be cast.
It is, but the thing is there's people, is going to happen. There's going to be people that get raised in this, and I think that's why it's important. Like, that's why I even think about making a cast like this. Like, I don't personally care to even feed into it. Like, I'm even trying to be careful on the titling of this video and some of the titling of the videos coming, because like the goal isn't to farm on the system that is currently happening, because we were talking about this before, where it's very easy to just dump on the people who have kind of done things or been a part of things, or it's easy to have opinions on that, and then that'll get you X amount of interactions on Twitter or any kind of social media, to where your dopamine's popping off and you're like, oh wow, all I have to do is just say some bad things about people and compete in the FGO chamber, and then I have friends now. But that's not really how things should work. In fact, it's actually kind of a detriment to progress. I think that a lot of the attention going towards that takes away from all the new people finding the scene, and those new people, they're going to stay for the game. Ultimate's still a really good game. It might be bad online, but the game itself is pretty godlike. And that's, I think we could all agree on that. And if we can't, then go play Melee, and it's fine. No hard feelings. But the reality is,
it's fine. That is honestly,
it's okay.
Actually a whole different subject, but I totally think that's fine.
And it's totally okay. And this is the thing, is the opinions of one or few, they don't have to match everybody. Not everybody has to like the same things. Just like not everybody has to have an opinion about Nairo or Zero or anyone, really. Like, it's not even that big of a deal. You don't even need to bring it up. What's really more interesting is...
Wait, what do you mean by it isn't a big deal?
Well, the opinion is not...
The opinion's not the actual opinion itself.
You're okay. I see.
Irrelevant, because
gotcha.
like
I wanted you to clarify yourself there.
No, it was a good point of clarity, because this is what I was talking to you guys before the show. Is like, I didn't go through all this twit longer. I got enough stuff to worry about, and there's a lot of larger things happening in this world that me as a grown adult am pretty concerned about, and I'm kind of following instead. But to the same degree, the people who are involved with any of this stuff that I know or that I've seen or have kind of a good social standing, I'm going to take their word for it. If someone's telling me something really bad happened and there's proof there to show it to me, I don't need to dig into myself. I don't even need to have an opinion. I just need to know that I need to move forward with this in mind. So with this in mind, I think it's a stark reminder of how much like kind of clout and popularity plays a role, not just in Smash, because this Smash isn't the only thing, but the fact that it shows itself so much in Smash, and that it's actually led to the demise of Smash. It's why I called this Smash's ego death in the title, is because
that's a little grabby.
It is a little grabby, but it's the truth though, because Smash is still alive. There's no killing that in reality. The community is dead just because the community has been weighed off of just a couple people,
quote unquote,
and it's not even those people's thing. It's just
fine.
That's the thing, right? Because there's so many sub communities in different parts of the Smash community, where just lumping it in and saying it's dead is sort of it's hyperbole, and it's just not accurate. I mean, it's not active as much as it was because of COVID, and it might not be as broadcasted because some of the main streamers are now not streaming it because they can't, because things. But that doesn't mean the game's dead. So I think this leaves a bit of an opportunity to think about maybe how to come back in an organic sense, as the community was growing organically, maybe without having to stake your lives on how good you are at the game, to have either be it a voice for what you're trying to build around Smash, or just anything, because just wanting to do Smash content or be a Smash tournament shouldn't necessarily require you to be in the Smash community. It's just a freaking game, and everyone has their own kind of reality around it.
Yeah, but it's like you gotta be, or else you won't have any connections. You know what I mean? Like that's just.
So this is the thing.
How anything works, though.
Well, of course. I mean, whatever you interact with is what's going to grow. But that's sort of what we were talking about too. Is like some of the bigger names, like, if you have whatever local, generic local, and that's not being attended by like the likes of a Zero, like, does that mean that your local isn't a local? Like, you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't have to like. that's the thing, is we're falling into this trap of like, rankings are rankings, and they're very there's a way that it needs to grow. But even I don't know, actually, I'm going to tangent too hard in rankings, so I'm going to pass for now, just because I think I'm about to tangent in a direction that doesn't need to be tangented in.
You're good, bro.
Sure, it's fine. Like I said, there's a lot of emotion to be had with everything that's been going on, and I think the big thing for me is what I'm looking to see is that I'm looking towards the leaders that we have currently, that have been very vocal about what's going on, about the changes that should be made and can be made. Tournament. And even around here, last podcast we had, House of 3000 dropped an anonymous tip line. You're seeing a lot of other places drop anonymous tip lines. People are putting together their own subcommittees for people, whether in their local scene or regional scene at large, to have a safe place for people to approach you on these uncomfortable issues. Because like we said at the top of this, it's not just with the big names. It went all the way down through the ground floor, of all the different sub regions and across the country. With all these
world,
talks,
bro.
Across the world, yeah,
Yep.
of sexual assault and misconduct and so on and so forth. So what I am looking at when this quarantine process is like you said, thank goodness we're not in a state where we're all going to tournaments right now.
Silver lining of the whole thing, yeah. The whole pandemic thing. Like, it still sucks, obviously, but
of course, like as someone that is naturally a half glass full kind of guy, it's been hard to find positives in what's been going on, just with the world at large and so on and so forth. But there is plenty of time to kind of pick things up and see where they go. I would love to see environments where women and minors and can feel safe and feel welcomed, at these events and so on and so forth. I would love to see an increase in security to make sure that that these things can happen. And like we said, I would love to see an era where it's okay to hold your friends accountable. You can hold your friends accountable. You can have the hard conversations with people, being like, hey man, that's not cool. What you did wasn't cool. It's important to have those conversations now, and it's going to be even more important to have those conversations in years coming.
So I think so with all that in mind, which you just mentioned, Koopa, I think this is a good time to pose this question, because we alluded to it earlier, and I think it's very relevant to where the conversation goes. But like, how did we get here, right? How did all this happen? How did we get to a point where some of the top personalities end up in some very bad situations, whether they've been the cause or the effect or whatever? Like, how did this all happen, right?
Sure.
So I think with that, this is another thing we talked about kind of before we went live, but the sort of the structure in which, Smash is the biggest organic esports, period. It's one of the biggest esports, period, just doesn't have the money behind it to make it look like that. So within that whole dynamic are loads of just inconsistencies. Like there's a lot of reasons why the community, and I mentioned this, like I said, when I was talking about the Smash community dying and all that, part of that sentiment was because there's a lot of failings in the community that literally have nothing to do with this toxic stuff at all. It's just the structure of the whole community sort of revolves around this structure. It revolves around someone like Nairo showing up to a tournament. It revolves around being on a certain channel to where everybody is seeing, because that's where it goes. And that's a system that, it starts off at a base level, because, you think about what really gets anyone any kind of real namesake or clout in the community, and the straight answer is being good. Being good is going to warrant all kinds of attention. If you're good, people are going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to be your friend. They don't have to know you. They could have watched your stream once. They could have watched your stream never. They're just going to talk to you. So with that extends to the events. So until you have people that are notable enough, your events aren't going to pop off to any spectator point of view, and there's no money there, so it kind of doesn't matter. But meanwhile, you still have Smash events. This is why it's the biggest organic esport everywhere. Smash events are everywhere, and they're mostly just kind of run off of passion and hopes and dreams by the people running them. So this is the blue collar thing that has mentioned to me also earlier, where just like you have your blue collar guy who is basically either trying to host a tournament, stream a tournament, attend a tournament, just trying to vibe, just trying to play Smash, hang with the boys, enjoy, have a good time. And then you have your competitive players who are trying to make their career in this, and then that's where the pressure comes in with some of the people that are now not going to be a part of things. And then, what was the third part he has? There was the players. Oh, the spectating audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's a spectating audience.
Like a hierarchy.
There's a total hierarchy, and it all sort of dictates each other. So with all of that, it creates all these unhealthy pressures in the scene, because to be successful, you got to play the different games. You got to get to know people who have, this viewership, and then once you know those people, that'll help you get to that same point. But like it's within that, it's kind of like a fallacy in there, because then it starts becoming less about what's being produced and what's being actually brought into the world and how that sustains itself. And that is then being masked over by who's popular, who's cool, whose voice means something. And right now we've defined the voice meaning something as being good at the game. And then this has been something that struck like a Nairo and a Zero at a very young age. These are guys that were idolized at what, like 13, 14, whenever
Young,
they started?
For sure. Yeah.
Imagine having everybody pander to you at 13 and 14 because you're really good. What's that do to you?
Yeah.
Developmentally, that does so many things. So many not good things.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point you brought up, and that was something that I was kind of piggyback off of. Is that a big reason of how we got here, and other podcasts have talked about this. Hard Reads talked about that with TK and Austie, where idolization is a huge problem. You put these people on a pedestal, but you don't really know them. Like using myself as an example, you guys know Koopa the commentator. You guys don't know Kyle the person. My friends know who I am, and so on and so forth. But like you don't really, you're putting these people on a pedestal at a very young age. And the thing about that Smash, when the most eye-opening thing about this is that you're in an area where people in their mid to late 20s, early 30s can also be interacting and hanging out with children, literal children, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. So I think that aspect of it, I don't know how you change that. A lot of people have talked about the introduction of junior divisions and different divisions of Smash. Whether or not that has any validity to whether it'll fix the problems or not, that's led to be seen. But I think the idolization of idolization plays a big role in in what's wrong. Alcohol has a big problem of what's wrong. Being able to carry open bottles of liquor with you, and not have that be as a strange thing throughout events is very weird. So I again, the big thing that I'm looking for is like, how do you make these places more secure so that alcohol isn't getting in and out of the venue, that you can have avenues where you can find suspicious behavior and say something about it. So I think until we find channels to where we can dig that lake and and have the water flood out that way, we'll see how it works out.
I think both of you were kind of hitting on a similar point. Like when did Smash tournaments become bigger than just being a place where you go and play Smash Brothers and try to win some money and try to beat some cool people? You know what I mean? Like it definitely we're far from that anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's not the point of the community anymore.
Smash is grassroots, but it's not like we're not playing in most cases. You're not having these big tournaments in the back of rec centers and churches anymore.
Dude, so the thing is some of that still exists. Like you still have a lot of those events that still exist on that root level, and then those are the players that you see enter something like a Frostbite, where it's that's a stream that hit 100,000 views. Like there was 100,000 eyes at one time watching this tournament go on. Meanwhile, how many people attended Frostbite? What was the number?
1,000, right? Like a grand?
Yeah, it was about, I think it was over 1,000, maybe a little bit. At the very least, it was 1,000. That's a lot of people in a room at one time doing one thing. And the thing is like, with that, I could tell you straight up from a behind the scenes standpoint, cutting corner, there's no sustainability in the scene. That was a big part of the reason I had a lot of problems with it even before all this stuff happened, because we could talk about junior leagues, we could talk about pro leagues, we could talk about separating the individual scene, but you could do that, but you can't even sustain one community because the faculties there to do it they don't exist. Your best hope is to be big enough on Twitch or YouTube or in the content realm, which we all know that for Smash, that's really kind of limited to just very few parties, and that's not even those guys' fault. That's the infrastructure. That's Twitch. Like, if you want to be successful on Twitch, you have to prove to that website that you could drive in this amount of traffic, you could do it regularly, and you could branch off on multiple channels to where it nets a certain income to where then you're a successful stream. So now you have this pressure on the player end to just win and just win that money, because any investment money we all know that goes into a tournament usually goes towards top placers. Whatever that is, it's always a pop bonus.
Money from tournaments great, but the clout that comes with it, that's how you grow yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you grow that's how you make it a career. Like
totally.
Winning enough tournaments or causing enough upsets or getting to top 8
Absolutely.
enough times.
And
that's
that's sports, right? That's sports. That's how it works. You get good, you get recognition, and that's how it works. But the thing,
I think somebody in Major League Baseball just signed a 13-year extension today.
Dude, exactly. And this plays into just how big of a deal just media is, especially in like the American economy. And when you think about those sort of pressures, then sort of weighing on platforms like Twitch, and then those platforms weighing on individual players of a game, and then weighing on the producers of that shit, it's just a bad system, and there's no real sustainability in it. So what happens is it creates all these unhealthy pressures. Like, I'm just going to use Nairo because it's the example. I can't control that. So at this point, like, you think about him, the pressure just to win in a tournament, to just compete, is multiple fold here, because he's got to keep his sponsor happy, who's getting him to the tournament. And then he has to actually compete on the live stream, which is being broadcasted and people are getting the impressions on. So they grip to him there. And then if he does well, his stream does well. His personal stream does well. Meanwhile, he was the biggest Smash streamer. Like, I would say. I don't even really count Zero in there because he kind of went and did variety for a bit. But the thing is his stream would be impacted on his results. Straight up. And I don't think that necessarily will ever change. But the pressure is on like the channels that allow him to sort of do his thing, to just compete. Those guys are in direct competition with one another. So now you're putting all this pressure on just one or two production companies to make things work. Meanwhile, these guys are working on shoestring budgets too. Like, VG Bootcamp's huge, but they're not like huge enough to be affording full-on salaries for like a producer. Like, I'll go out and do work for the opportunity, but it doesn't really pay. But it's a good opportunity for me to kind of flex what I could do.
I think we've all heard that one in the Smash community.
Yeah, and you guys deal with this on a commentary level. Like, you'll go out to do a commentary gig because it's going to have the right eyes on it, and it might put you on a trajectory to get more work. But that more work isn't really there because, like I said, all the money going into tournaments turns into prizes. So while that's happening, and while Twitch
prizes drive viewership too, though.
Always,
you know what I mean?
Always, man.
Like, if there's some big, I don't know, a game I don't care about, League of Legends or whatever tournament, but there's an $8 million prize pool, I'll be like, I should probably tune into this. That's pretty crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, money talks. And the players are the ones that end up got to do the walking. But the thing is we've gotten so stuck on making sure that there's big names and stars and players that take off, where I think people forgot that you need infrastructure for that. That works for professional sports, for stuff that's proven. There's a reason the NFL is a thing, but the NFL has no impact on like Pop Warner football or high school or college football. Like, that's all different shit, and it's all funded in different ways. Like, high school teams are funded by a school budget. College teams have some scholarships going on, and professionals are all that's all contract work. So we're talking about making multiple divisions in Smash just for the sake of safety. Meanwhile, there's no real way to run one community until the communities merge with something that can handle it. And I'm talking about, real corporations with I'm talking about venues that could legally handle this stuff. They could basically draw up the legal work that can handle the security. Because, dude, if you're running a Frostbite event, who's paying security? You're barely even paying the streamer or the production team for being there. You're barely paying, you're not really hiring any players to be there that you're hoping get the attention. I mean, you kind of are in the form of prize pots, but you're not paying commentators the amount of money to compensate from being away from their day jobs for a while. Like none of that is taken care of. So everyone's kind of on a whim, sort of trying to make the dream work. Meanwhile, the dream becomes a nightmare because all the pressures make people get in that survival instinct to kind of just do bad stuff because there's a bit of a hopeless feeling at being at a Smash tournament. I sort of get that. On the end where you're not just enjoying the game and doing the thing, there's a little bit of that air of just like, how is this working?
Sure. I think I feel like I've been having we've been having a security conversation for the last 2 years, ever since that Jacksonville shooting, back in 2018. And
then there's all these things just like that, Koopa, where people are like, we've been talking about this forever. We've been talking about this or that needs to get better than the community. And it honestly felt like we were on a house of cards. You know what I mean? Like it was just going to topple over at some point or another.
Yeah.
And it sucks and it's a painful thing, that we're going through, but it ultimately is a good thing. You know what I mean? It's a good thing because what this means is when shitty things happen, it means things either need to change or people are going to give up. Those are two things. Well, that's a change which in itself, but things need to change and are going to change one way or the other. So it's a bad thing. It's a terrible thing. I wish that these things never happened. It fucking sucks. But at the end of the day, it means that us as a community, people who are left and gonna stick with it, we gotta figure out a way forward. That's it. Those are the options. Leave or make it better. So a lot of people will honestly just keep it the same. But
that's I think the issue we're facing right now.
I'm just talking about like the average tournament goer. Like if you were someone who went 5-2, went to tournaments, or 4-2, whatever, went to majors and had fun and didn't do anything wrong, that's great. But I think the culture around it is what's going to have to change. Like the overarching bigger thing going on in the background needs to change, because the people who are just showing up to tournaments, which is most people just showing up, having a good time and leaving, that's still most people. I know it doesn't feel like that right now.
It's the truth.
Which it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel like shitty about the community when all this stuff is coming out. It's totally okay. I know I did. I had to go through that. I felt like shit about everything, man. And
yeah,
I don't know, dude. It's that
there's no knowing. There's too many unknowns. Because we could jump a little bit topic here. It's not really that big of a jump, honestly. I just wanted to talk about that entry point back in, because you mentioned, and you're right, if it's up to most people, not much is going to change. Like you've now eliminated some toxic entities from the scene. Congratulations. But like that doesn't really fix all of the main issues, and those main issues are kind of on ice right now because of COVID. Like, we're seeing a few locals come back into action, and we're seeing a few events running with some restrictions, and there's reasons for that. Like, there's a lot of these places that need to pay the rent, they need to pay the bills. Thinking life goes on. There's also all kinds of crazy stuff in the news, so it's hard to know what to believe. But that regardless it's happening. But I think one thing that we could all agree on is that there's no way it's happening on a mass scale for a while. And the only way that happens is either, because this is still a conversation, forget about Smash events. We're still trying to figure out if people are going back to school in September. Like, we don't even know that. Like, that's problem number one.
And I think that's a thing that we wanted to talk on. I mentioned mental health at the top of this whole thing. And, like we said, everybody absorbs information and grieves differently with what happened. A lot of what came out in these past 2 weeks, it's been really hard to read, and there's been times where you just gotta remind yourself to put the phone down, to not to not be refreshing your Twitter feed every 5 seconds, because it's a lot. And not even just with that, again, there is still the gloom and doom of the pandemic going on. I know that you're boarded up with a teacher. I'm sure there's there's discussions of school and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm going back to work every day, and I'm trying to keep mine and my own safe. And, the important thing is that eventually at some point, this is going to be okay. And to kind of like just rally it back into Smash for a second, like we said, it was a lot of this was hard to swallow, and a lot of the same issues we've been talking about for years, security, women's safety at events, minor safety at events, all this stuff has been a conversation we've been having for years. And I think as everything that happened was fucked up. It was gross. It was very very hard to stomach. But let this be the spark for change. And I trust the people who are in charge, the people that are behind the scenes trying to make things better, so that we can uh keep this thing going. And
like who though?
like your tournament organizers.
So the thing
Or,
is like,
you lean on your local leaders, lean on
so
the people
yeah,
behind the scenes and stuff like
I
that.
feel like honestly, after this shit, I feel like it's like Marvel. You guys know the scrolls in Marvel? It's
Yes.
like that. You just can't tell. You just can't tell.
So
You just have no idea.
this kind of speaks to what we were saying earlier. Is like there's such like an overarching like the community leaders and stuff, and they vary. They
Yeah.
really vary, and they're not all synced up, and they're not ever going to be. I don't think, at least not in the current landscape that we're all trying to heal from or make it back. But like in either case, I think that local events, I could speak specifically. Like I'll just say like even Bears and PA, like they're running and they have like a 25-man cap, and they're capping every time. I think they go over a little bit, despite how much they kind of are still pushing people away, because people want to play the game. People want to play offline.
Yeah.
They want to enjoy it, and there's no
So bad,
problem
dude.
with that. Like you can't blame anyone really. But the reality is still no one knows the real facts behind coronavirus. You know what you get from the media, and the doom and gloom, and people are dying legitimately. Like that's a thing that is happening.
Yeah.
And with that, knowing that. Knowing that that's the news we get until anything comes out differently. These are the rules. These are rules we got to follow, and they kind of need to be respected because there's just no certainty in knowing. Like I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys a thing right now because I think it is. I don't have my camera on here, but that's fine. I'll put you guys
But
up
it's like
here
you're
so you can
saying,
look at it.
like even if like let's say there is a Smash, like the code of conduct panel or whoever, like the Smash government or whoever, they say you can't host any tournaments because COVID's going on. 99% of people comply, but one random rogue TO in the middle
Well, because they're not
of
connected. They don't
Texas
care.
says, "Fuck you, I'm."
They're
doing my
like,
own
"Yo,
tournament."
dude,
they can't do anything.
I have a business. I'm going to run. I need to pay rent. I'm going to do the best of my abilities to follow the rules. There's other businesses opening. Like you can't expect, random virtuistic tournament organizer who says, no, you can't run locals. Like they can't dictate someone's individual business stuff. So those events are going to exist and they're going to happen. The reality, and
don't go.
That's the thing is like, you don't have to go for one. Two, if you decide to go, not only is that a personal choice, don't make people feel dumb for not going. The people are literally just following the shit that they're being told because that's kind of the responsible thing to do. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this, though. We already know, especially considering schools and everything else and things that aren't opening, like don't expect any events for a while, especially like that's a picture from Smash and Splash on the overlay. Don't expect the Smash and Splash probably for a while.
Hell no. That joint wasn't happening anyway this year. That shit was canceled.
No,
that's true.
And something else I want to add on to that is that like at least in our immediate area, we're all from me and Chris are from New Jersey and you're from Massachusetts. We're from the Northeast, where a lot of other places around the world, like especially down south and out west, those places in the world are experiencing what we were going through in March, where like they mandated stay-at-home orders and wearing masks outside and in buildings whenever you went places, and that was scary. Watching the news every day, seeing the photos of the ICU and stuff like that. I have a friend who's a nurse, and she, God bless her soul, and it was horrifying. And there's you see it even it's going to locals. It's wanting to go to bars. It's wanting to go in restaurants to eat and stuff like that. There's a really big lasp in like risk and reward. Like I understand, like, I nobody wanted to get a haircut worse than I did. My hair, it was killing me. Am I going to, picket outside of City Hall demanding that my barbershop opens up? No. You're seeing it with a lot of news articles, like Chris said, like a lot of other people saying the whole thing is still so fluid. There's still a whole lot we don't know about the coronavirus, and it's been a constant topic of conversation on any medium that you listen to because it's affecting everything.
Well, yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, even it's going to be interesting to see how sports look when they come back, which are starting very soon.
Yeah, I hope you guys are ready for your fantasy football teams.
No,
They're literally fantasy teams now.
I
You
I
just
hate it.
wish they were playing.
Yeah, pretty
Just
much.
run a
But like,
simulation in Madden, and that
Dude,
discounts for the
that's
whole
what's
country.
gonna. Yeah, we're gonna be watching Madden,
They
a
do that
schedule
yeah,
of
before the
Madden
Super Bowl. You know
tournaments.
that they usually have a
they
game
do.
played out
Yeah,
on Madden. They do
they
highlights of
do.
that.
It's
It's fun.
yeah, it's
Um,
interesting, dude. I'm sorry. Finish
so
your
like,
thought before
no, you're
I.
fine. Like the thing I'm just trying, I want to hammer home is that like, yes, like it is a lot of doom and gloom, but if everybody does their part, a lot of articles saying, if everybody, I think it was like the New York Post or something like that, like some like big magazine posted. It's like, oh, if everybody wore masks, washed their hands, and social distance, coronavirus wouldn't be a problem.
The,
It's like, oh, it's as if people weren't listening
the
like four
thing
months ago and
the,
all this stuff was
the thing
happening.
is though is like I agree with that and it makes sense obviously like you stay clean and you do the right things and you don't get other people sick and you stay home yada 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 like that's all that's very true stuff like I'm not going to ever argue with that but the one thing I will say and the stuff that confuses me and this is going to be my own little piece I do today just because I think it's good for perspective. As we're seeing
Sure.
cases in the U.S. boom to like this crazy outlier number that you would just never ever even imagine being possible because it just seems so fake almost. It's not
Mm-hmm.
fake, by the way. These are real cases. Coronavirus
No,
is real.
this is
I'm not
very.
saying this is a fake thing. So don't misunderstand that. But what I will say for perspective. So right now here's this Statista, this website, right, where it basically breaks down the confirmed cases followed by the deaths per million which is really
Who
your
runs
way of
that website?
understanding how many people die per million people of per capita in a country. And in the U.S., you see all these unprecedented numbers. You could even see here confirmed deaths are a lot higher than everybody, but per million, per their actual population, it's actually only eighth on the list. So everything's always perspective, but the one thing we could agree upon is that this is very real
That
and there
three
are
million
people
people is still
dying.
3 million people. Like,
I mean, absolutely, man. I mean, the reality is, though, is no amount of washing your hands and no amount of covering your face and no amount of everything is going to change the fact that this is a virus and it spreads. So
yeah,
while this virus exists, it's not, things are going to literally have to be rethought entirely. So especially in the sense of a Smash Local, it's hard to even imagine because we're still trying to figure out, the world's still trying to figure out regular events. And until people figure out how these numbers actually work and what the real statistics are of how many people, what the mortality rate is and what numbers are accurate where, and then what things aren't being basically stated for political reasons and what's not trying to sway an election because this kind of crazy stuff always does come up right before American elections. And like I said, I'm not here to invalidate any of these things because these are all as far as we know, facts. And until that becomes otherwise, Smash Local is probably going to have to take a back seat, man. And that's along with literally public schools or any schools and sports and everything else. So you might want to go to an event, but there's definitely a sort of error in protocol right now for us to follow in terms of like what the virus is doing and what it's like.
yeah. No, I totally agree. And, again, I just stress to the people at home, do your part, wear your masks, you know, keep your social circles small and stuff like that. And obviously, if you're not feeling well, stay home and stuff like
Get a
that.
thermometer. People don't
That
have
too.
thermometers. I don't know how you don't at this point.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've never like actually like looked up like I didn't know it was that easy to take somebody's temperature until I saw like the thermometers people were
They
using to
just
like
aim
scan
that
your
stuff
body
at
heat
your
when you walk
head
in.
like they're going to shoot you.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I have an old
something.
school one.
There are a lot of testings going on, and I think that's good. And I also think like obviously like yeah, I'm gonna try not to get into the politics of things, but there is a lot of testing going on. But with all of that in mind, yeah, world's a really strange place to be in right now, and
Yeah,
it's so strange that we're even seeing shakeups on some of these platforms that we are just talking about. Like we were talking about how kind of the Twitch system is maybe not the best, at least catered towards organic esports at the very least, let alone social stuff because of the kind of pressures it creates and everything else. We talked about that a little earlier, but there are some aspiring, all of this mess has led to some pretty big changes in the landscape of live stream websites because I don't even know if I know you guys have heard of it because I've told you about it, but I don't know if anyone watching this is even familiar with what Brime Live is or what it is, but it's kind of a continuation of the last episode we were on that didn't have Has here, so I might have to catch him up a little bit, but here's all you really need to know. Brime Live basically came into everyone's awareness right around the time when that Twitch blackout went out and all these streamers were sort of getting outed. And then, you saw Dr. Disrespect, which was a huge one, basically being removed and banned from the platform almost on the spot from something that still is undisclosed. Still no one is exactly sure what happened to Dr. Disrespect. But at that same time, Facebook bought out Mixer, and or whatever. Mixer was acquired by Facebook and basically combined for their kind of like just a joint platform, because Mixer was basically failing. Go figure. And now it's joined with Facebook. And within all of that, Ninja and Shroud got bought out for like $30 million apiece. So they're just totally got a free payday and are made. And then there was all these crazy rumors that came out on 4chan basically saying like, hey, have you heard of Brime? Apparently Ninja and Shroud and Dr. Disrespect are doing this thing where they're just going to make a new streaming platform because no one wants to go to Facebook, and also Twitch is kind of trash, as I say, streaming from Twitch. So in either case, people kind of bought into this because it's believable. It's believable to think that people are looking for better alternatives to Twitch and to the non-existent Mixer now and Facebook. Like, so it could totally catch, because if Ninja decided to support this platform, he would definitely eat up into the user base of Twitch, of people looking for that better platform from a streamer perspective. Like, that's a very real thing. But it is not confirmed if those guys are indeed involved in this in Brime yet, because the website's still incomplete. That's number one. And also they've had some technical difficulties already. And also, I don't know if this was a marketing pitch, basically, to just get people being like, oh, what if there is a social media platform? And some guys just kind of stumbled on this, but they gained traction enough to a point where I'm going to pull up their Twitter right now, because they boomed as soon as they announced. And that was what sort of fascinated everybody, with having their following base, or they were following all the big names I mentioned, Ninja, Shroud, all those guys, Dr. Disrespect, and that's why everyone sort of started to draw the parallels. So the funny thing with this is this was sort of shit on almost immediately after coming out on 4chan, being like, this is obviously fake. You guys are all getting baited. This was just someone who kind of just tried to capitalize. But then you look a little closer, their Discord URL, it's a unique URL. Their Discord server, it's actually boosted to high holy hell, meaning it's very high quality and you could do a lot of stuff in there. So there's enough backing there to where maybe something's going on that can't be discussed yet, because Dr. Disrespect seems like he's in some legal actions, and probably because Ninja and Shroud are on some like things where they can't talk after a certain amount of times based off of contracts with Microsoft and Facebook. Like, that's all real, but there's no real way of knowing. But it kind of goes right in that weird place of like that possible hope for social change to happen. Also, here's some of what they're experiencing. So apparently they were having some email issues, like where it wasn't accepting some emails. They did their alpha signups, but then people signed up and the emails weren't being like validated. So there's some stuff there to be worked out. So I don't know. I'm just kind of fascinated by this whole thing personally.
What's most interesting to me is, in that aspect, it's like, it's kind of watching like the streaming wars of media like catch up to like video games and stuff like that, because like it's kind of like how like Netflix had like a chokehold on the industry for a while, and then you see everybody's kind of getting in on their own thing, obviously with stuff like Hulu and Amazon and Disney Plus, HBO Max, and I think NBC has their own thing coming out next month or something like that. But we'll see what happens, man. Twitch has had like a monopoly over the streaming market for such a long stretch of time that you don't know. You've seen it happen with these other streaming sites. They just can't. They don't really have the niche, or the what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have that one thing to sell you on it, the stuff like that. Like what's their Netflix original to kind of keep you coming back.
They were first to, and they do have a good platform, Twitch.
They do. They have a really good platform.
So this is the thing. Yeah, the problem with Twitch is, I think, in the guys of, I forget what the guy's name is, but like he even said at one of the Twitch cons that like they just grew too quick. And when you grow too quick, that's when bad things happen. Because if you want to really get into it, guys, you think about Twitch's infrastructure. Who was the person who was supposed to be spearheading the Smash content creators on Twitch? Do you guys know the answer to this? Just a little
D1?
trivia. Yep. So it was D1. D1 obviously got involved with some bad stuff. And he was kind of in charge of dishing out some of those partnerships that were supposed to grow the scene. The scene obviously didn't grow because there was some conflict of interest there on D1's part, who was working on some other stuff, I guess we'll say. So with that in mind, growing a platform is hard. So if Brime is ever to grow, but if they do have someone like Ninja or whoever that knows how to captivate the community and get the right people in place to do things, they're going to be good. Because that's the one thing that Twitch is lacking. They were first to the party. They provided the product that was needed. They're based around gaming, so they already win right there. But like, you know, they don't have the facilities to grow out some of the ground level shit that happens around gaming. It's hard to do that.
I think what these sites needs is like what like Twitch has. Like you see these professional athletes and like all these other people like using the platform to stream. Like Ninja made it so that, you know, like Ninja was so big that professional athletes, you know, started streaming and you know, playing Fortnite and stuff like that. So like you see like, you know, Juju Smith-Schuster is a big force on Twitch. Ezekiel Elliott, you know, is a big player on Twitch. Devin Booker is a point guard for the Phoenix Suns, plays a lot on Twitch. And I think the Logic, like the rapper Logic, just signed like a multi-year platform to stream. He's like retiring from the music industry to stream full-time on Twitch. Power to him if that's what he wants to do. But, you know, I think the problem is, you know, yes, obviously, you know, Ninja now is a big face. I don't think any of those big guys getting involved would obviously, you know, bring an air of credibility to this stuff. But, you know, you gotta bring something in for, you know, more of the common folk, you know, names that people more easily recognize.
Gordon Hayward, by the way, too.
I think that's what
him too.
I think that's what they're counting on, though, right? Because Twitch is going to capitalize on the same formula we were talking about before, very clout-driven, very popularity-driven. If you've already been successful in media, this is just another place to extend that. And then the idea with Brime, I think, and this is where they get caught in that weird place of are they legit or not, is they're basically looking to solve the problems that Twitch has, including the whole like catering towards just popular streamers. But then you might ask, like, well, what do you get for growing like a smaller streamer? Who gives a shit? Why should I be trying to help out a streamer with 1-2 viewers? And the reality is it's mostly just trying to help people be discovered, or mostly just sharing content. Because my biggest issue with Twitch, as someone who's been trying pretty hard for a few years to just get partnered and with no real luck and not having a connection to D1, so I might as well have not existed as far as Smash streams go, at least in that particular infrastructure. It just didn't really, it's hard to get anyone to follow content, but like if Twitch was a little bit more forward thinking and did a thing where they're just like, okay, let's just find the right facilities to sort of sanction off this particular game that's being played everywhere, and then we could basically forward the viewership there and grow around it. But they don't, that's not the forward thing that happens there. So something like a Brime, they have an opportunity at doing something that a little more organically.
I think they like that it has its own competition built in. They don't have to do any of the work. Why would they spend their time helping small channels when they can just let everyone do the work for them?
And that's sort of the toxicity of the platform, depending on your perspective. If the platform just hasn't really, in my opinion, evolved. And again, I think it is probably because they grew too fast. Hard to blame anyone, but facts are facts, man. But in either case, all of this is sort of a little weird when you think about Ninja actually streamed to his YouTube right after the whole Mixer thing went down and had like 100K viewers like off the bat on YouTube, which really makes you realize just how powerful YouTube is as a platform. So
I thought you were saying Ninja, but yeah, YouTube as well.
Well, no, because Ninja was streaming on YouTube. Like from his YouTube.
Dude, getting 100,000 people to instantly click a link is power, bro.
My man's got 24 million subscribers. Look at this YouTube page. This guy's a beast, dude. This guy's a legend. That's what I'm saying. If he wanted to make a social media platform, if he, by some crazy chance, is involved with Brime, like if this is a real thing, he's set up to succeed, dude. Like, come on. But with that same, like, he's paid. Like, what does he stand to really get from continuing his grind on a platform that just pays him a lot of money? Like, if I'm Ninja, like, and I'm just trying to do anything because I've literally hit God mode in life and I have all this money now, and like, I literally just heisted Microsoft from $30 million worth of money, and I made Twitch my bitch, kind of. Like I could do whatever I want. So like, why wouldn't I make a stream platform? That's sort of how I look at it. But then again, I'm also not Ninja, so I can't really tell.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. He could just keep doing what he's doing.
He can just ride to the sunset. Like, he doesn't even have to make content anymore, but he does seem to be staying active. So that makes me wonder if there's a plan there.
He's got the hustle, man. He always has. That's what it takes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, It's like when, as I remember, back when I followed baseball closer, I was like, man, these players they're holding out for $3 or $4 million. I'm like, that's bullshit. They're already getting paid like 18. It's like, yeah, but $3 or $4 million is like, even if you're making 18, like, you know what I mean? Even if you just do the percentage out to like an average salary, it's like, damn, I'll take that pay bump any day. Like, that's pretty significant.
Has, would you like to take a guess for how much Los Angeles Dodgers outfielder Mookie Betts signed for
So much,
this
dude.
afternoon?
So much.
It was for a former Boston Red Sox. Sorry
Yep.
to
Mookie.
sorry
I'm
to
not.
sorry
I'm a
to,
Yankees fan. I'm not a Red Sox fan.
That's right. You're a transplant.
I'm from New York. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
By the way, the number is $380 million. By
I was
the
gonna
way,
say my
shit,
guess is like
dude.
280, and that's
13
guaranteed.
years.
Baseball's you're locked into the money. Once you sign that contract, they can't like fire you or anything. And if they do, they have to pay you out because the players.
Baseball is literally on those old school rules, man. They're gonna be there forever with like guaranteed contracts like that, and just sort of.
Imagine dropping $380 million on a guy that can't even go out and play.
It's America's sport, dude. Well,
the players
until
want
everybody says football.
There's bigger issues of baseball I can go into on another podcast. So stay tuned for our next sports episode, whatever that is.
Like Randy Johnson killed that one bird. That was
oh my god, I'm gonna find that video. Hold up.
They showed that at every baseball game, like during like the blooper reel.
It's insane that it was him. You know what I mean? Like the guy who is 6'7" with the crazy mullet. Well, not a mullet, but he had like the curls going out the bag. And he's huge, and he threw like 102 miles an hour. Like it had to be him.
It's like so funny. Like whenever you go to a baseball game and like they'll show like the blooper reels like in between innings, like you're always guaranteed to see two things: Randy Johnson hitting the bird and the San Francisco chicken, the mascot for the Padres.
About Jose Canseco, the ball bouncing off his head is a pretty classic one.
That's a good one. I think there's one at the Philly Fanatic like falling on the foul pole and like falling on his Fanatic, which was very funny. Gets a chuckle out of the audience every time. But
yeah, dude, that was a classic. Hold on, before you, I just pulled that video up and it took me too long to prepare it, but I just want to because I went through the effort. Anyways, here it is for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about. Yup, that's Dead Bird.
Oh, man.
My man was just trying to pitch.
Content warning, by the way.
Just a gigantic lefty.
Are we gonna get our second? Are we gonna get our second copyright strike from a major sports league, Chris?
I hope so.
Because remember, we got copy.
I hope they keep killing the little guy with.
We got claimed by the NFL.
Yeah, we.
But
did.
Anyway, so
he pelted that thing.
He beamed that thing.
That bird is
the odds are insanely low.
It's like the tweet that was like circulating around where it's like
bullets.
Yeah, the two bullets that hit each other. Like, what would be crazier to this? And someone's like 3 bullets.
He's right though. They're right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean that's all I got on Brime. I've just been sort of following this since it got announced because it falls into that category of just like, is this real news or is this fake? And I think the jury's still out. I mean, they're definitely making moves. They seem to have enough backing to where they have the real networks, and the real networks have like a following. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I do know, though, that this market of live streaming anything is only going to grow, and every platform is doing it. So I won't be surprised to see a lot more platforms come out in the future.
Yeah, it just depends on what these other platforms, bring to the table. Like I said, like the streaming wars are so like vastly different now when it comes to media. Like all you can really differentiate is the content. I think the thing that NBC's thing is doing is that it's completely free to like watch everything. Like you don't have to pay. You'll get like or it's like I guess that's like what Hulu does, where you can pay for Hulu but still get commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
but like
there's like tiers.
Yeah, so like as long as these like I think there's room for these. There's enough seats at the table for these other sites to like live and thrive. It's just a matter of like what else can you bring to the table to compete with Twitch.
I say for this point, I think like if you're Brime, you have all kinds of stuff to work with. Where we started the discussion, which is all the discourse that goes on between even within gaming communities and beyond. So there is the point is it's coming at a time where people are looking for change in everything, and just as we're looking for change in the stuff we're doing. So I don't know. We'll see. But neither way, that's all I got on Brime. I don't know if you guys have any last notes on anything else we talked about today or whatever, but we're probably approaching that time.
No,
sure.
Man, that was good.
Yeah, the big thing that, sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes there.
Well, I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm good. So like, I don't want you to feel like you couldn't keep going. So no, I'm glad we're looking out for each other. All right, go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
go on.
yeah. No, after you. That's how you communicate. But I think obviously it's been a couple weeks. We've been a little inconsistent. Obviously, quarantine has made things difficult. Things are hard when your place of work is also your place of home and dwelling. But this was something that we wanted to talk about. Kind of set the scene of where things are now within the Super Smash Bros. Community, and and at a tangent, other communities that are also going through these changes, and what we can expect to see, what we would like to see going forward. Again, we're gonna have plenty of time to troubleshoot and see throw some ideas around before we see our next offline tournaments. And but the one thing I want to also throw out is that as hard as quarantine has been, not being able to see a lot of my friends and stuff like that, it is very comforting to be able to sit down in these calls and talk to you guys every week, because it is it's become normal. Like we said, we've been doing this podcast for almost 2 years now, and it's been
like, follow, subscribe.
Yes, please. But it's been nice, to have some familiar voices to kind of fall back on and hear from, and to know that you guys are doing all right. So, hopefully,
Yeah, it's good, man. Absolutely. I think that is good. And, I'm at a point where I'm pretty hungry to make some good content again. So.
Yeah. And listen, I got just things are obviously slow for obvious reasons. We glanced over a Nintendo Direct Mini that happened this week and stuff like that. So we can talk about that at a later time as that comes out. But I've got some ideas in the think tank for podcasts we could do. We don't have to do like a traditional gloves off every week. We can do some different subsections of stuff.
There's stuff.
Yeah, there's some ideas I'm tossing around. I'm still waiting for Haz to return my business emails on that 30 for 30 rewatch of every 30 for 30 on ESPN. So
gave up on that one. I should get back on it though. I've just been watching bullshit. I should start watching
like Jersey Shore.
No, hey, I said bullshit, not amazing television.
Oh man,
Jersey Shore rules.
Yeah, so before we,
hey, who follows me on Twitter? You can't be. You can't be
passionate. Right. I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't want to respect
that.
Do not want to disrespect the man.
You just
himself.
Want me to say it's Pauly D.
Oh, Pauly D follows me. Yeah,
Pauly D follows.
It's my banner picture. People should know.
Oh, you know what? True. Hold on. Yeah, here we go.
I think it's still my banner picture.
It is.
I think it is. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's so fucking funny.
That's wild.
Oh my god, man.
That was my goal this year.
Dude, you hit your goal. I'm actually, honestly, dude, I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
I'm
serious. I had a goal. I had a strategy.
I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, but so before we get out of here, obviously, we're gonna talk about some other obviously contenty stuff and so on and so forth. It's a lot. We've still got a few months left in the summer. We can talk about some games, talk about some shows, some content that we're absorbing. Sit down with our friends and shoot the shit for a couple of hours. Every.
Are you casting Gobble this weekend? We do have Smash coming up this weekend.
No, yeah, there is Smash coming up, so you can get on my line.
Level
is happening for Ultimate this weekend. It happened for Melee last week.
Get on my level.
But isn't the online one called Get on My Line?
It's GOMLINE, like Gobble Online.
Oh, weird.
I get it.
So I don't know.
Oh, I get it. I guess.
Gom line.
I see what you're saying now too, though. I see what you're saying as well.
Because Get on My Level is a tournament series, but I think. Hold on.
No, I think you're right.
This is the tournament series. Get on My Level, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, Get on My Level happened last weekend for Melee Online. The first rollback major was won by.
Get on my line. 2020.
And but that's happening this weekend. I unfortunately will not be part of the festivities, but I know that you will, so I'll be tuning in to obviously watch and have some background noise there.
You know what's crazy is before every event, I always look at the bracket and try to come up with talking points and shit to say. But man, there's only one thing that. There's like one thing that is going on that is the number one thing in Smash right now. It's not a good thing. So
no,
I don't know. It's definitely hard. A very strange tournament prep line.
I'm just gonna leave with this final note here and say that there are still plenty of people grinding out this game that don't have a lot of namesake that are actually doing pretty well. And I know a lot of people hate the egos of people getting success on online Smash, but whatever. What's any different than the egos of the people on offline Smash? Like, just beat them offline when it happens. Like, no reason to hate. Whatever reason people are getting into the game, and whatever reason people are enjoying it, just let it happen. It's all good.
Sure.
And you're right, Chris, because that isn't the only big narrative going on. The big narrative is that we're in a new age. Like, that's the truth. Like, that's a positive spin that you got to put on it for sure.
Hell yeah, dude. We are definitely in a new age. And I, for one, am looking forward to it because I don't want opportunities because they go away from other people. I want opportunities because something good is being produced here, and maybe there's just more room for something like that to grow. You know, all I ever really want to do is add some perspective, and luckily this call, if anything, always has really good perspective from multiple different levels, from playing to commentating to producing to organizing to everything. We cover all the bases here. So, you know, just kind of looking to provide that. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, and you guys already know this, I don't know if there's going to be a complete rebrand, but there is going to be a pretty discernible step away from Smash for a lot of obvious reasons, because you know, I don't want to be lumped in with that either. I just want to have my own channel and have my own fan base, or not fan base. I almost don't even like using that term. Just have my own people that I vibe with, my own community.
Community, bro.
Yeah, that's all I want. I don't want my community to be tainted by that is all. And because there's so much more here.
Yeah, and we'll obviously have some fun content ideas. Like I said, I got some stuff rumbling around in my head that we can talk through in some prep meetings in the future. But you know, until then, you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. I'm not using social media as much these last few weeks for obvious reasons. Number one, because I'm working a lot and I have a significant other to tend to. But number two, it's just
bro, you trying to flex on us?
What the heck was that?
There's another person. Someone. Okay,
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm happy.
Sorry for the folks at home.
I'm very happy for you.
It's you got me anyway. But yeah, if you can follow me on Twitter, KoopaNJ, I'll tweet funny memes every now and then. But you're the one that's doing something this weekend, so why don't you?
Yeah, you can follow me at KoopaNJ. I'm on Twitter.com. It's a free website. It's pretty cool. So yeah, check me out.
That's the first time you've done that with my Twitter handle.
I don't think I've ever done that before, honestly. Have I done it with other people's?
I don't think
so. I think I just said it so naturally. You think I did?
Yeah. So you guys already know. You can follow me at Chris Lodi and whatever, but definitely just follow. Yeah, don't do that. Just follow at Master. Just follow Master Endgaming on Twitter. If you're still into Smash events, we still got them every Thursday, and those are starting to actually turn into something kind of cool. More details on that in the future. Mario Kart, we definitely have that, and there's actually going to be a lot more hitting the channel in terms of different games really soon, because of some opportunities that have come up recently. So stay tuned there. If you're interested in that or looking to just enter, socialize, just play games with humans and enjoy that, look no further. So be sure to do that if you're enjoying these podcasts or have in the past or do right now. Make sure you do all the appropriate actions, like, follow, subscribe. I know that when I hear that on other people's YouTube channels, sometimes it does remind me. So if you stuck it out to this point and you did enjoy it, any kind of positive feedback, even negative feedback, is very appreciated. Always looking to improve and always looking to hit that next level of conversation with people. So the way that happens is by interacting. So don't be shy. We're all pretty friendly. The Discord server, that's actually being reworked to be a little bit more open forum and probably present some more of this podcast within there to make some conversation grow. That is something also to stay tuned on. Hopefully this week, honestly. I got to change it to do a lot of things, but that is on there. But yeah, that's it, guys. So thank you again for joining us, as always. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the podcast who does. Also, uploads might look a little different this week. The whole podcast will be uploaded, but we're also going to make some mini clips. Possibly, I got to go back and see if any of our content is worthwhile, because I'm a hard critic on myself. But I'm sure we covered some good stuff. But with that,
I think so.
But with that, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.
Hey.